Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I thought I would do a flip through for you of my 2025 Project Life album. This was the first year for me where it went into 2 albums. As you can see, they are quite chunky. I will split it into 4 videos, so I will split it into the quarters of the year. Otherwise you'll be here for an absolute age watching me flip through the albums. So we'll start with Volume 1 for 2025. So at the start of every album, I always have a disc. So this is an M disc, it's an archival disc. It lasts a lot longer than DVDs and isn't susceptible to damage or oxidation, the same as DVDs are. And what I do is every video that I put into my scrapbook, I will also have a copy of the video and I will archive it to a disc. And I also have networked attached storage and I put it on there, so I have 3 levels of backup. So I have it on a disc, I have it on YouTube, and then I also have it on a NAS device at home. So that just makes sure that anything that I really don't want to lose, I've always got a copy of it. And this is only everything that relates to 2025. The disc will only be in the first album. So even though I've got 2 albums for 2025, the disc is only in the first album. I always start off with a cover page, so I take one of my favourite photos from the year. So I might not necessarily do the cover page until the end of the year once I've decided what photo I want, and I don't always know whether it's going to be 1 album or 2 albums. And I try to, for the cover page, take a photo that's from the months that's covered in that album. So this was from March, February or March. So I've taken that to represent this half of the album. In hindsight, looking back, I would have preferred if I'd put the months that this album covers rather than just Volume 1, Volume 2. So that's something that I'll be mindful of for future albums that go into 2 albums. Behind here, and I will show it at the end of the video, but behind here is an NFC tag. And I can scan with my phone and I can pull up the entire YouTube playlist for 2025. I've also got an NFC tag on the spine of the album and I can show that as well at the end of the video. So that just allows me, if I've got the album open, I can go to the front page, I can scan that tag because I know it's there, and I can pull up the playlist. So if I'm showing friends or family and I know that there's a video that I want from a particular year, I can scan that and find the video really quickly. Or if my albums are on the shelf, I've only got to touch the spine of the album that I want, and that will also pull up the same playlist. So this is what's the first 2 weeks. So I think for the most part, I was only doing a page for each week rather than a double page spread. I always find that happens in January anyway, because January is a really slow month for us. There's not really that much happening. So the first page only covers the 1st to the 5th. I will always adjust my dates because I like it to run to a true week. So I always do it Monday to Sunday. So the start of the year was midweek for 2025, so I will adjust my dates accordingly. You will see some weeks where it might be 10 days, and that's just if we've got a partial week. I will include that in the spread for the week before, so some weeks will be slightly longer, some weeks will be slightly shorter, but I like to split my album by months and then by weeks. It would really annoy me if I had part of January and part of February in a week. It's just something I don't like doing, so I will always adjust my weeks. So here's what I was saying earlier about the QR code. So this is just a picture of the fireworks that were happening across the road from us, and I videoed it, uploaded the video to YouTube, and then that QR code if you scan it, it will just show the video that relates to that picture. So you'll see that a lot throughout the album, is there will be QR codes. Something I did later on was actually embed the QR codes into the photo itself. I think I prefer the look of putting the QR codes directly on the photos rather than having a sticker, but it is more time consuming for me to go in and edit the photos. Sometimes I just want to get the photos out quick, get them in the album and worry about the QR code later. So this week the traitors also started. This is a video just me showing scanning the scanning the NFC tag and it pulling up the playlist for a previous year, because I started that in January, but I went back and did it for previous albums. And then I'm also a trustee of Fox Angels, so this is just, I was doing some coasters, and this is just the remnants of what was left when I was doing the heat transfer for the coasters. So here's sort of what I was doing. So here's a picture of the coasters, and then the bags that I was doing, and then I was sending those out to people that had bought them. So everything that I make for Fox Angels, we then sell online. It raises money for the charity. Then moving on, so this was the 2nd to the 12th of January. So my husband had bought me for Christmas, he'd bought me some bubble tea making kit, so I hadn't got around to trying it at Christmas, so this was sort of the first time that I got to try it, and I was just experimenting with the different flavours. So I've just put the leaflet that came with it, I've just put that in there as a little insert. One of my dogs, he's got spinal issues, so he was 8 when I did this album, when he was diagnosed with the spinal issues, and I'd previously bought him a stroller. So this was just me, I'd bought some accessories for the stroller, so I'd bought some side bags and I'd bought some clips. So it's just a picture of what I'd bought, and then I cut out Joy on craft foam. It's like a blue glitter craft foam. So I just cut out the words on my Sizzix and attach that to the photo. I did a similar thing here, so whenever it snows, we don't always get a lot of snow in the UK, but I will always take a snow picture regardless of how much or how little we've had. So I did the same thing, I just cut out the word snow in the same foam, and then I'd cut out a snowflake and I'd put that on top as well. Then here is some of my albums, so previous scrapbooking and Project Life albums. And it's just because I'd finished 2024. I'd finished it on time. I am pretty good at finishing my albums on time, and I do like to see when I've put that album up on the shelf. It's both good and sad. It's sad that album's come to an end, but it's also nice because I'm starting in a fresh new album. And then here is just what we were binge watching this week. So I was watching Beast Games, Missing You, and then there was a penny challenge, so he was trading up a penny. And then this is the week of the 13th to the 19th of January. So this is just a picture of the craft supplies that I'd bought. So I tend to go through phases where I buy lots of craft supplies and then I can go months without buying anything. So I always take a picture of just the sheer amount that's in the box each time. It's always funny to look back and see what papers I were buying and how much I'd actually bought that particular time. And I just journaled about this week. Then here is a vet invoice. So I always include these so I can look back and see who was at the vets and what the issue was and how much I'd spent, sort of how much they're costing me. So this was Clyde. He was still under the vet care because his gait had changed, so he was swinging his back legs round the outside rather than swinging them underneath him, and we didn't know what was going on with him. He didn't appear to be in pain, but it wasn't right, so we'd sort of been backwards and forwards to the vet. So that was just the latest invoice. I was into project planning, and I'd bought this planner a while ago and never really used it. so I was just making up my own dividers. So I'd taken pictures of that, and I was using this planner. This was an A5 planner. I was using it more for work, so I was writing in meetings and things I had and things I had to do on that day. And then I'd started making hoodies for Fox Angels, so I just took a picture of the latest hoodie. And then this is just bits that I wanted to add to my album that didn't really have a place. So this is just the card. So the company that I bought my craft supplies from, they'd sent me a Christmas card in with a box, so I've just put that Christmas card in there. And then from this week, so this is the 20th to the 26th of January, this is when we went to Villa's ground. So my husband is a Villa supporter, so this was just the newspaper that we got and our lanyard, and that was Clyde's consent form. So this card relates to this week, and then I've switched everything so it's facing this way because everything on this side relates to this week. So this is Clyde's referral form, because he had to go and see a specialist. So this was just my Facebook post where I'd said that we'd gone to Queen's Veterinary School Hospital with Clyde, and we were just hoping to get answers. So it's just a screenshot of where that veterinary practice is. So it's a specialist. We had to go and see a neurologist for Clyde. And then so my husband had bought me an art bin, and I was using it to store my Project Life cards. And it's just so easy to use and so easy to stay organised. So this was the first one he'd bought me, the blue one, and then I'd bought a few more on Amazon, but then I'd started labelling them with what they were, so I tend to have them categorised. So this one says Valentine's and birthday, and this one is spring, summer and Easter, and this is fall and Halloween and winter and Christmas. I have since got more art bins and I've split these out even more, but initially I just had it one side of the art bin was dedicated to specific cards, but it just meant I could go in and I could easily find the Project Life cards that I wanted to based on the season or the time of year. And then this is just me at work. I'm just imaging laptops and I've got that planner open, so I'm making full use of the planner that I'd started putting together the previous week. And this is just one of the inserts that I'd made, so I was printing all of my own inserts and working out what worked and what didn't work. And then this is the MRI scan for Clyde. So when we went to that specialist in Cambridge, they allowed me to take a picture of his MRI scan. And one of the issues he's got is he's got a curved spine, so you can see the spine curves here, and above that is a pocket of fluid, and that's what's causing minor compression on his spine, and that's what's made his walk change. He's not in pain and we are monitoring it, and actually since making this album he has got better and he's still not in pain. So again, we're still not doing anything. He's now 9, so unless it becomes a real problem or he's in pain, we'll get him seen again, but it's not affecting him day to day. And then I was trying something different for the journaling. So I've just got tags. So this one says Monday, it says you can do it, and I just wrote about Monday. I did a separate one for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's just sort of hidden journey. I don't know whether I do or don't like that. I was just experimenting with trying to write more journaling than I had been writing before. And then this is the end of January, so this is the 27th to the 31st. Again, not too much was happening. So these journal cards I'd made myself. and it was mainly taken from Colour of Blink Twice, so we'd watched that, and I was just taking that as sort of my main colour and using that for this week. We'd also watched Alison Hammond's Florida Unpacked. This made me laugh. It's my work from home reality. So I'm on the sofa, on the very end of the sofa, and I've got all 4 dogs laying next to me, which is nothing unusual when I work from home. Another QR code. I just had a delivery that had paper packaging in it, and the dogs just go nuts for paper. They don't eat it, they just shred it up. So that was just a video that goes with that picture, just them shredding up paper. I wasn't particularly well either. I'd done some long days, so I was just crashed out on the sofa with a migraine. And then we move into February, so I'd just taken just a filler card, and then I'd put a label on top, and again I've cut out February in that foam. I do like the foams, it doesn't add too much bulk but still gives it dimension. So this is the 1st to the 9th, so it's a slightly longer week, but that doesn't bother me at all. We watched 4 Good Days, The Apprentice started, and Celebrity Bear Hunt started. My husband, he was home late one evening and didn't really fancy cooking, so he nipped to KFC, and he couldn't have bought me anything more healthy. He bought me the salad. It was the first time I had the salad, and it was actually really nice. And then I just took a day of self-care. And then we get into Valentine's week, so this is the 10th to the 16th. So again, this is just me. I designed some trackers for my planner, so it's just a picture showing the trackers that I designed. Quite a lot of filler cards, because again, it's not really that much going on this week. I watched The Castaways. I bought a different planner. I bought a slightly smaller planner, an A6 Moterm, and I was going to use that as my personal planner so I could keep work and personal stuff separately. So I'd started designing inserts for that planner. So I designed an inbox and I'd laminated it, and the idea was if there was tasks that were outstanding, I could write them on sticky notes and then just put the sticky notes on the inbox, and then I could work out what I was going to do with those. And then once I'd dealt with those, whether it's a case of setting a date and putting them in the planner, or things I needed to action that didn't have a specific date, I could kind of leave them there as a landing page and come back to them. And then these are the cards. So the Valentine's card I got my husband, and the card that my husband got me. So I always like to include cards that we get each other in the album. And then this is the 17th to the 23rd. So I said earlier that I'd bought more of these art bins. So this is now all of them that I've got. So I've got 2 stacks of them, and I'd further split them out. So I've got spring and summer is in one, and Easter now is in its own one. And then the same with fall and Halloween, they were in a joint art bin. They're now being split out. The same winter and Christmas have been split out. So what I tend to do is, if it's, say, coming up to Halloween, I will move Halloween to the top of the stack, so the stacks themselves rotate, so it makes it easier for me when I'm doing my project life, that what I need is typically at the top of the stack. These ones tend to stay at the top. These are just my general ones, so my 4x6s and 3x4s and stickers, things that I'm going to go to all the time, they live at the top of that stack. And then I'd created this currently watching card. So we were watching Will and Harper on Netflix, The American Murder of Gabby Petito, again on Netflix, and Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix. I've got a little bit of journaling here, so that's, again, I'm still not doing that much journaling per week, so this entire card covers the whole week. And then here I've just got, my husband had bought us Chinese takeout for this week, so it's just a picture of my Chinese. Then moving on to the end of February, so this is the 24th to the 28th, so again slightly shorter week. So we'd gone to the cinema and we watched The Monkey, so I've just got the movie poster for that, a little bit of journaling for the week. I designed another hoodie for the Fox Angels, and then this is just me wearing all of the postage slips, so we had quite a few orders come in, so this is just me showing how happy I am with the number of people that are supporting the charity and buying the hoodies. And then this is the first outing that Clyde had in his stroller, so he's really good now. He will sit in his stroller and won't jump out, but initially he would always sit sideways, which just made us laugh. He would never ever sit in it properly. So I've just taken a picture of the first time that he'd gone out in his stroller. And then we move into March. So when we moved into the house, we had these horrible radiator valves. They take batteries. They're supposed to be smart, but they're really not. They're just such a pain, and the batteries always die, and then the radiator doesn't come on, or if it comes on at full heat, and you can't control it. So we just switched back to normal valves with the numbers on. It's so much easier to control them rather than those. It was one of my dog's birthdays, so Shelby, my youngest, turned 3. I will always get a picture of the dogs on their birthdays. That to me is really important. And then I'd ordered, for my personal planner, I'd ordered some bits from Sort Stuff Out. She does a lot of planner videos, so I'd bought this little zip pull, and I'd bought some dividers, just some clear frosted dividers, because she makes them all to size, and I was really struggling to find, because a lot of planners that are listed as A6, they aren't true A6, so anything that I'd bought on Amazon I found didn't actually fit the rings. The holes for the rings didn't line up, so I went to her and asked her if she makes true A6 dividers for Moterm planners, which she did, and she sent me those, and they're really good quality. So that's just a picture of the lovely packaging, and then my planner sort of finally put together. I've just got a filler card here that says Celebrate You. I've got the birthday one for Shelby for his birthday, and then I've got the 1st to the 9th, and I've got March, so I've kind of put my title card and my week together on one. And then from time to time I do like to do shaker pockets. I just find it's a nice way to fill out a pocket without always using filler cards. So this has just got different coloured sequins in it, because it's quite a bright page, so I've just used quite bright sequins of different sizes, and then I've got happy birthday confetti in there. And then my company does wellness days, so they do 4 wellness days a year, and they tell us when the wellness days are going to be. So I've just covered up, there's a QR code there. I don't know if it still works or still points to anything, so I've just covered that up. And then here is the company name, so again I've just covered up the company name for privacy. And then this is the 10th to the 16th of March. So we've had quite a few issues with our bathroom upstairs. So the toilet started leaking again, it stopped flushing. And was leaking everywhere, so we had to disconnect the toilet. And then this is just me washing my hair in the sink, which I've had to do a few times over the past year, because that bathroom is just an absolute nightmare. We need to rip it all out and start again. And then they always say that things happen in threes. The bulb went out as well in that bathroom, so it's just a picture of the bulb. I was trying to work out what bulb it is that's in there in order to put a new one in. And then I've just got journaling, so I've got the 10th, 11th, 12th and 14th, and I've just got a little bit of journaling about each of those days. And then here is a hoodie that I designed. So I lost Brody 2 years prior, so I just made a hoodie. It's a French bulldog with angel wings and a halo, and it just says Brody underneath it. And the idea is that each time one of my dogs passes, I will just add their name to the hoodie, so it's almost like a living legacy of the dogs. And then in this one is just my performance, so, and it's got salary information on there. And then this is the 17th to 23rd. So again, I've got a little bit more journaling. I've got 2 journaling cards. So this one is just talking about a lot of the webinars that I was joining. So I joined webinars for Camtasia and Snagit, which are 2 applications that I use at work. And then I've just got a picture of one of the webinars that I joined. The school swap UK to USA was on, so I'd watched that this week, and adolescence. And then at the end of the week, we went out with friends for a meal. And then this is the last week of March, the 24th to the 31st. We'd gone to watch David Gray, so I've got a QR code here again of the video that I took for David Gray. This one I've done it as like a long double flip up. So I've just got pictures, me and my husband, and our ticket, and then I've covered up, this is just a map. So we went to Cozy Club, and then we went on from Cozy Club to the venue. We watched Mickey 17 at the cinema. My husband didn't really like the film. I thought it was okay. There were certain aspects that I thought were quite funny, especially when they were printing new Mickeys. It was sort of quite a clever idea. And then we watched No Hard Feelings. Hubby went and played some pitch and putt. I went out for a meal with one of my friends, and this was just the reserved sign that they left on the table. And then I'd also, in this week, I'd bought the DJI mic too, so I'd bought 2 of the mics, and then I bought a set of lanyard of lapel mics. So that's it, that's the first quarter of 2025. So I hope you enjoyed the flip through of the first quarter of 2025. Join me in the next one and I will do the second quarter of 2025. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.